Fuzzy's disappearance. Pinned to the lamp-post in a shiny pink frame was an image of Fuzzy, the word lost by his name. The week had been raucous, with much knocking on doors. His description revealed Tabby, with white blobs on his paws. Number 23's inconsolable children had scoured the street, the churchyard, allotment, but the hail and sleet had vanquished their efforts to track and to trace. Their mum was now hoping he'd just found a warm place. "Oh, Fuzzy, where art thou? This is terribly weird, and completely unlike you to have gone, disappeared." The police had confirmed missing cats were not dealt. They said to keep looking. He'll turn up, they had felt. Mrs. Clark at the butcher's had whispered abduction. Her husband said UFOs rarely used that type of suction, and to abscond with mere kitties would have been a disgrace. Besides, the Army and Fire Brigade could be relied to give chase. At the pub, Mr. Wilkins thought it not amusing when a patron suggested that whilst they'd been boozing, he'd done for the kitty to put in a pie, with lashings of gravy in case it was dry. The lollipop lady, known as Janet from Thanet, mused an eagle had swooped, but more likely a gannet, then dropped her hypothesis when a stranger observed, "We're inland, gannet's coastal. Your assertion's absurd." "We've not seen him since Tuesday," said Father, quite grim, "and should prepare ourselves sadly for no news of him." The kids wouldn't have it, and yelled protestations. Aunt Rose even promised to chant incantations. But the truth was that with so little info to go on, Father had acquired a replacement, with Beau on, to present to the children and assuage their heartache. But he'd failed to assess the fuss his gesture would make. Nancy, through tantrums, accusations, made noise, the likes of which she'd ne'er created with toys. Father finally conceded he'd misjudged the mood and pleaded for quiet as they sat down for food. Fuzzy's boxed-in replacement was scratching within, unconcerned by the silence and chewing some string, so the knock on the door by the family called Todd gave him no cause for reflection and didn't seem odd. It transpired when they'd taken their caravan off for a spin round the dales and Gerald's hunt for a moth — he was a lepidopterist — young Fuzzy was hiding in the put-you-up bed. Mr. Todd freely admitted he'd stood scratching his head. Now returned, they'd brought Fuzzy to be reunited with his family proper, and to ensure that no person or animal felt slighted, replacement Fuzzy was grandly named Lepidopterist's Fancy, or Mothy for short, as suggested by Nancy.